Let's talk now, can we, about vaping. Do you vape? With news that thousands of children are being illegally sold vapes featuring fruity flavours and colourful packaging, and given that environmental groups have called for action on the hazardous waste from these e-cigarettes, are they really the best way to get people off the fags? Is vaping a good alternative to tobacco or an antisocial nuisance and a threat to children's health? Is it time to stub out e-cigarettes? Let's speak to Colleen Dwyer from the world-renowned Alan Carr Clinic. Their Easy Way programme, which has spawned several globally best-selling books, has helped millions of people to give up smoking, gambling, eating sugar, mobile phone addiction, drinking and even e-cigarettes. In fact, their latest book is on that very subject. It's called Alan Carr's Easy Way to Quit Vaping. Colleen, welcome to Mark Dolan Tonight.
Hello, Mark. Very pleased to be here.
Congratulations on everything that you've done for so many people that have bought these books. Vaping, what's your view? Should we stub it out?
Well, we're very keen to help anyone who is smoking to quit, and obviously e-cigarettes were brought to the market with that intention. But what we're seeing is how the youth now, the next generation, is starting to pick up vaping. And of course, that was never the intention. It's not desirable. It's a pointless activity. And it's a real waste to see, children falling into the nicotine trap.
Do we know, Colleen, whether vaping is healthier than smoking? Is it the lesser of two evils? Is it harmless?
Well, it's certainly, I wouldn't say it was harmless, and we certainly need more research into the long-term, mid-term effects as well of vaping. And, common sense kind of dictates that it's not a very healthy thing to do to inhale vapour. But it probably is less harmful than tobacco smoking.
But the problem is it contains nicotine, which is extraordinarily addictive. Can you just give us a sense of how addictive nicotine is and how hard it is to kick?
Well, nicotine is the most addictive substance known to mankind, and just one dose of the drug would be enough to get you hooked. So, with a vape, it's highly addictive. So it wouldn't take much for a youngster to find themselves in that cycle of wanting to vape and not being able to stop.
Is this the tobacco industry just finding a new income stream? Because I felt like we had a rare opportunity in our history to get tobacco out of our lives. But then they brought e-cigarettes out as a way of getting people off the fags, and it feels to me like back to square one.
Precisely. It's there was high hopes for e-cigarettes to get people to finally finish, their nicotine addiction for good, but that's not what we're seeing. I mean, we highlighted the dangers of it back in the day when they first came out, and sadly, we're seeing our predictions come to fruition.
Full disclosure, I've run out. I've literally run out of the number of people that have taken the Easy Way method, which is what you do, that's had amazing success. I think 6 or 7 million copies of the smoking book. Alan Carr, no longer with us, absolute genius. I've got to say, the Easy Way is easy. It's brilliant. So bravo to you. Obviously, other alternatives are available, including your GP. But if you're struggling with cigarettes or any other addictive substance, do give the Alan Carr Easy Way method a go. If I can, Colleen, let's bring my panel in on this. We've got David Oldroyd-Bolt, Nigel Nelson and Lynn May. Nigel, I'm curious what you think. You come from Fleet Street and those smoke-filled offices, at least back in the day. Do you think we should stub out e-cigarettes?
No. I am both a smoker and a vapor. I rather hope that the vaping will actually take over from the cigarettes. And when it comes to children, we've had this problem all along, that when there are only cigarettes around, children got their hands on them. They were much more fashionable when I was a youngster than they are today. The same thing applies to vapes. The important thing there is there should be proper policing of this. It's down to the shops to not to sell them to young people. So that is where the effort should go. Vaping may not be ideal, but it probably is a better alternative to tobacco.
OK, David Oldroyd-Bolt, I guess you're a libertarian, so you wouldn't want us to dictate to people what they smoke or don't smoke.
Well, as a former and very, very enthusiastic smoker, I found vapes to be useful. I think they are, from every study I've been able to see so far, less harmful. They don't contain carcinogens, for instance. The problem I had with vapes is that when they first came out, you could smoke them pretty much everywhere. You could use them everywhere. And one can use them inside the house without causing terrible smells. So, in fact, my nicotine dependence rose rather than fell. I think the idea that they should be taxed more is ludicrous. One of the reasons that people use vapes, I'm sure, is because they are cheaper than cigarettes, so they're a viable alternative. If you make them the same price as cigarettes, why would people switch? They might as well just carry on with the thing that they already know is bad for them. They know it's bad for them because they are told every time they buy a packet of cigarettes and they see those rather ghastly pictures on the front and back. If children are buying them, that is, as Nigel says, a problem with the policing of them. It is not a problem with the things themselves.
Lynn May, the issue that many would argue is that vaping is quite antisocial. You know, you sit there, perhaps you're watching a football match or you're just walking down the street, you're in a cafe or you're outside and you get this cloud of steam and it's banana flavoured or mango flavoured. It's just another irritant, isn't it, in daily life? It's just antisocial. E-cigarettes are a nuisance.
Well, no, I don't agree with it being antisocial. You can say anything's antisocial. You can say being on your phone's antisocial.
But I've got to breathe in that smoky, steamy rubbish.
I think some of them smell quite nice, to be honest. The only thing I would say is, I know people say, you know, it's nowhere near as bad. However, the nicotine content, you can decide how much you have, but they oftentimes are a lot more than cigarettes. The National Institute of Health has just published an article saying that there's a lot of damage to blood vessels now as well. And I think that even though children were getting hold of cigarettes, I don't think there was that appeal for even younger children. Now they're all these different fruits, colours, and they're easy to get on the internet. So I do think there does need to be a bit of discouragement when it comes to who purchases these vapes, because it is not good for young children to also get into the habit of being addicted to something.
Yeah.
People may not want to admit this, but addiction is a bad thing. If you feel you need to have something, enjoyment is different. But if you feel you have to depend on something, addiction should not be something that a child has to deal with at such a young age.
OK, look, just a few seconds left. Colleen, I think you were quite a heavy smoker. You became a sort of disciple of the Alan Carr easy way technique, and it is easy, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And I just want to echo what you said there, which is it's not nice being dependent on anything. Even if there's no harm associated with it, no one wants to be psychologically dependent on anything. So I was very happy to be freed from my addiction.
Brilliant. How can people find out more about what you do?
AlanCarr.com. So, yeah, just go online and we have a whole range of problems that Alan Carr's method's been applied to.
Worth a try, I would say, from personal experience. I think it's genius. However, if you're also worried about any addiction, do seek professional help. You've got the Alan Carr, but you've got your GP and lots of voluntary organisations as well. Wonderful to have you on the show. My thanks to Colleen for that fascinating debate. That was indeed fascinating. So there you go. That was Colleen Dwyer.